Hey there, my amazing friend. Welcome to Lengold English. If this is your first time here, let me tell you what makes us different. We don't just memorize grammar rules. We explore psychology, personal growth, and life lessons while naturally improving your English. Lengold English. Golden stories. Fluent future. That's what we're all about. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever gotten a compliment and thought, if they really knew me, they wouldn't say that? Or maybe you got a new job, and instead of celebrating, you kept thinking, I don't actually know what I'm doing. Sooner or later, they'll discover the truth. Here's another one. You're learning English. Someone tells you your English is good, and immediately you think, no, it's not. I still make so many mistakes. They're just being polite. This feeling has a name, Impostor Syndrome. And if you've felt it, you're definitely not alone. Today, you're getting a double benefit. First, you'll understand what imposter syndrome actually is, where it comes from, and most importantly, how to deal with it. Second, you're improving your English by learning how native speakers talk about psychology, emotions, and personal growth in everyday conversations. Quick note, stay until the end because we're going to talk specifically about imposter syndrome in English learners. Yes, that feeling when you're speaking English and think, I'm just faking it. I bet many of you have felt that. Let's start.
Part 1. What is this thing? So, imposter syndrome. What is it exactly? It's basically this persistent feeling that you're faking it, that you don't really deserve the good things that happen to you, that somehow you've tricked people into thinking you're better than you are. And the worst part, you're constantly waiting for someone to discover you, to point at you and say, wait a second, you're not actually good at this. Now, here's the strange part. Success doesn't fix it. You'd think, okay, once I achieve X, I'll feel confident. But that's not how it works. You get the promotion. I just got lucky. You finish a big project. It wasn't that difficult. Someone says your English is impressive. They haven't heard me make mistakes yet. You keep giving credit to everything except yourself. Luck, timing, other people's help. What it feels like. Part 2. Where does this come from? So, imposter syndrome. Where does this come from? All right. So why do some people end up feeling this way? Usually, it starts early, often in childhood. Let me explain the common patterns. 1. Nothing was ever good enough. Some people grow up hearing constant criticism. Maybe their parents were really hard on them. Maybe they got compared to siblings or other kids all the time. Maybe they heard you could have done better, even when they tried their hardest. Over time, this creates a voice in your head that says, whatever I do, it's never enough. And no matter how much you achieve later in life, that voice doesn't disappear. It just keeps demanding more proof that you're worthy. 2. Success was supposed to be easy. Other people grow up in families where being smart or talented means things should come naturally. The unspoken rule is, if you really have it, you shouldn't have to try. So when you actually have to study hard or practice something repeatedly, you feel embarrassed. You think, if I were actually good at this, it wouldn't be this difficult. This is why some successful people still feel like frauds. They know they worked hard, but they think they shouldn't have needed to. 3. You were labeled early. Sometimes kids get labeled, "She's the smart one. He's naturally talented." At first, it feels good, but then it becomes pressure. Because now, every time something is hard, for you, it feels like you're proving the label wrong. Wait, I'm supposed to be smart. Why don't I understand this? Instead of saying, I need to learn this, you start hiding what you don't know. You fake understanding. And that's when the fraud feeling starts. Why it keeps going. Here's the tricky part. Impostor syndrome actually works in a strange way. When you're terrified of being discovered, you work harder than everyone else. You check everything twice. You prepare too much. And because of all that effort, you succeed. But you don't feel successful. You just feel tired. And the fear gets worse, not better. That's the trap. It pushes you to achieve things, but it makes you miserable the whole time. Part 3. Different ways it shows up. So, different ways it shows up. Not everyone experiences this the same way. Here are some common patterns. See if any sound familiar. The perfectionist. If it's not perfect, it's worthless. This person sets extremely high standards and then criticizes themselves for tiny mistakes. They could do 95% of something brilliantly, but all they see is the 5% that wasn't perfect. The natural genius. If I have to work hard at it, I must not be good at it. This person is used to things coming easily. So when something requires real effort, they feel like they're failing. They think struggling means they're not talented, when really it just means they're learning something new. The soloist. I have to do everything by myself, or it doesn't count. This person refuses to ask for help because they think needing help means they're incompetent. They'd rather struggle alone than admit they don't know something. The expert. I need to know everything before I'm qualified. This person is terrified someone will ask them a question they can't answer. So they keep studying and preparing, but never feel ready enough to call themselves an expert. The superhuman. I need to be excellent at everything. Work, family, hobbies, all of it. This person tries to be the best at every single role in their life at the same time. And when they can't maintain that impossible standard, which is always, they feel like they're failing at everything. Most people are actually a mix of 2 or 3 of these. Do any of them sound like you?
Part 4. The real issue. So, what's actually happening here? The main problem is this. What you feel doesn't match what's real. Objectively, you're capable. You have skills. You've done things that required those skills. But emotionally, you don't feel capable. You don't feel like you deserve credit for any of it. It's like looking in a broken mirror. The reflection is distorted, even though you're standing right there. This is what's called a calibration problem. Your sense of yourself is not aligned with reality. The voice in your head. There's basically a constant argument happening inside.
The critic. You're not good enough. You just got lucky. Everyone's going to discover the truth eventually. The realistic voice. Hold on, that's not true. Look at what you've actually done. Look at the effort you invested. The problem is, most people with imposter syndrome believe the critic automatically. They don't even question it. The solution starts with recognizing when that critical voice is talking and learning to challenge it. Part 5. How to actually deal with this. All right, let's be practical. What can you actually do about this? Strategy 1. Give yourself credit. When something goes well, stop and ask yourself, what did I actually do to make this happen? Don't dismiss it as luck. Don't say it was easy. List the real actions you took, the time you spent, the skills you used. For example, when someone compliments your English, instead of thinking, they're just being nice, try this. I've been studying consistently for months. I practice even when it's uncomfortable. I push myself to use English in real situations. I watch Lengold English videos and actually apply what I learn. That's why I'm improving. See the difference? You're acknowledging your effort. Strategy 2. Get proof. Imposter syndrome makes you wait for external validation to feel legitimate. I'll feel confident once my boss recognizes my work. I'll feel like I'm good at English once I pass that test. But here's the thing. External validation never stays. Even when people praise you, the critic finds a way to dismiss it. The real solution is learning to feel proud based on your own judgment, not waiting for someone else to tell you you're good enough. Strategy 3. Challenge the lies. The critical voice tells you lies. Start noticing them. Lie. If I ask for help, people will think I'm incompetent. Reality. Everyone asks for help. That's how learning works. Lie. One mistake will ruin everything. Reality. Mistakes are normal. People respect you more when you handle them well. Lie. I need to be perfect to be taken seriously. Reality. Perfection isn't real. Progress is what actually matters. When you notice yourself believing one of these, stop and replace it with what's actually true. Strategy 4. Talk about it. One of the most helpful things you can do is stop hiding how you feel. When you admit to someone, you know what, I actually feel like I'm just making it up as I go along, 2 things happen. First, you'll probably discover they feel the same way. Imposter syndrome is way more common than people think. Second, saying it out loud makes it smaller. The critic loses power when you expose it. And bonus, when you're honest about your struggles, you help other people feel less alone too. Strategy 5. Rethink vulnerability. Imposter syndrome makes you think showing weakness is bad, but actually being honest about what you don't know is a strength. When you say, I'm not sure about this, or I need help with this, or I made a mistake here, you're not showing incompetence. You're showing maturity. People trust honesty. They respect it. So stop pretending you have everything solved. Because the moment you stop pretending, you stop feeling like a fraud, even though you never actually were one. Imposter syndrome is rough. It makes you doubt yourself constantly. It takes away the satisfaction of your achievements. It keeps you living in fear of being discovered. But here's what you need to remember. You're not faking it. You've invested real work. You've developed real skills. You deserve the results you've gotten. That voice telling you otherwise? It's lying. Your job is to start recognizing when it's talking and choosing not to believe it. This isn't something that fixes itself overnight. Dealing with imposter syndrome is ongoing. But every time you catch that critical voice and challenge it, you become a bit stronger, a bit freer. And remember, golden stories, fluent future. That's what we do here at Lengold English. We learn English through stories that actually matter, through topics that help you grow as a person, not just as an English learner.
If this video was helpful, here's what I'd like you to do. First, subscribe to Lengold English and turn on notifications. We create videos like this regularly. Real topics, practical ideas, natural, everyday English. You'll keep improving while learning things that actually matter for your life. Second, leave a comment below. Have you dealt with imposter syndrome? Where does it appear for you? At work, in relationships, or when you're speaking English? I read every comment, and I'd be interested to hear your experience. Plus, when you share your story, it helps other people realize they're not alone in this. That's it. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next video. Remember, Lengold English, golden stories, fluent future. You're not a fraud. You never were.